What's good? It's Jordan. Today I'll be talking to you about how to deal with cowards. See, in this life today, we'll be interacting with many various different people. We have to understand that everybody is not the same. We have to understand that everybody does not think the same. And when we understand this, then we can understand who to identify ourselves with and who not to identify ourselves with. We'll come upon many various different scenarios and situations in this life, dealing with actual social settings and social people, so to speak, and everybody is not your friend. When we understand that everybody is not our friends, then we conduct ourselves in a way that is beneficial to ourselves. You'll meet many various different people, and those people may try to actually leverage themselves to actually maintain status higher than you, to actually leverage those opportunities that they may be presented to be better than you. And there are people who think with this competitive mind frame and mindset, especially in career paths, especially in your own personal life and social settings, dealing with people, places, and things. And we have to understand these interactions, because if we don't, and we don't understand these interactions, many times we can be misguided into thinking that everybody is for us when everybody is not for us. See, we have the ability to understand ourselves and understand what life we want to live. Do we want to live a life with confidence, or do we want to live a life with cowardness? See, what a coward does is a coward never stands for anything. A coward waits for others to stand for something, then follows that thing if it is trendy, and then follows a different thing if it is trendy, and then follows another thing if it is trendy. A coward constantly changes their mind. A coward never stands for anything. A coward constantly belittles others for actually making changes in their own personal life for them to actually think through a confident standpoint. When we understand that a coward never does anything in their own personal life for them to grow, for them to change, for them to actually stand for something and be strong and courageous, then we have the ability to not deal with cowards. See, when we start to deal with cowards, when we start to put cowards' opinion first, when we start to actually take the opinions of cowards seriously, essentially what we're saying is we're on the same level with cowards. We have to understand that we are not on the same level with cowards. Cowards are on a level below because they are cowards. We have to understand this when we're interacting with people, because sometimes we may get into situations where we have to deal with cowards, and they may try to stop us from being confident. We may get in arguments with cowards, and they may try to tell us things that may stop us from actually living in confidence. Do not take cowards personally. Do not even pay them any attention, because when you start paying them attention, then they start to feel like they are above you. We are above cowards. We have to understand this. We have to understand the role a coward plays. And you will meet many people like this. They may be in group formats and group settings, and you will identify these people when you deal with them on a day-to-day basis. They'll never have their own opinion, for one. They'll always be around the group for two. They'll always need to be codependent on somebody else's opinion, for three. For four, they'll always focus on the opinion that the leader may make and whatever the leader of that group may say. And number five, they don't believe in themselves, and they try to follow behind the leader in trying to diminish what you may do, what you may say, and how you may move, to try to gain the acceptance of approval of the leader and the rest of the group. When you understand how these cowards move on a day-to-day basis, then you can maneuver yourself in a way where you don't have to deal with these people. Because sometimes what a coward may do is a coward may test you to see your reaction, to see how you move, to see how you maneuver in this life. And when a coward does those things, they're testing you to see if you're strong or you're weak. When a coward does these things, essentially what they're trying to do is trying to get you off balance and get you off your square. And you have to understand that in this life, when you have no interaction with cowards and you just ignore these people and stay away from these people, essentially they'll start to look at themselves as something wrong is with self. When you give them attention, when you focus on these people, when you care about their opinions, that's when they start to harp on you and start to try to destroy you. But if you constantly ignore them, pay them no mind, and actually treat them as if they don't exist, then they either reflect on themselves, which cowards rarely do, or what they will decide to do is turn their attention from you and bother somebody else. Essentially, cowards are already destroyed, and the only way a coward could get out of their mind frame is if they decide that they don't want to live like that anymore. If they decide that they want to actually stop being in that position. And if they remove those people who are enabling their behavior, so to speak. When they start placing themselves around people who disable the cowardice behavior from the coward, then they start to be their own leader. Then they start to understand self, and they start to understand the importance of self. We have to understand in this life today, God knows those who are cowards and those who are deceivers and those who try to manipulate others for their own evil doing and evil plots and evil plans. And when God knows these things, we have nothing to fear and nothing to worry about, because cowards will essentially be destroyed in their own lives. We have to understand that we cannot be cowards in our own life, meaning we cannot fall into the same standings that these cowards may fall into. We have the best understanding of what a coward is and how a coward acts, so we cannot turn into a coward ourselves. We have to avoid being a coward ourselves, and that means standing up for ourselves. That means standing up for what's right. That means walking confidently. That means walking in faith, walking in strength, and knowing that you are not a coward yourself. Anytime that you do not do these things and you start to fall into the ways of a coward, know that you are doing something wrong. Know that when you are by yourself, when you're isolated, so to speak, and you're not always in groups or relying on the dependency of the group that you may be in, then you are not moving into the direction of being a coward. But when you have to always constantly rely on a group, rely on the leader of the group to make the decisions, when you have to constantly diminish other people's abilities and try to tarnish those people in order to prove your allegiance to the leader of the group, understand that you are starting to move towards the life of a coward. We have to destroy these mentalities, because sometimes there are people in this life that are programmed to behave like that. And when they're programmed to behave like that, essentially what they're telling you and telling themselves is they don't believe in themselves, and they've given up on themselves, and they rather somebody lead them, and they rather somebody control the dynamic of their life. And we cannot be in that mind frame in this life today. It's best that we understand ourselves. It's best that we understand the importance of not being a coward, and it's best that we understand the importance of fleeing away from a coward, because one thing about a coward is they'll continue to do negative things constantly, and then they may be hit with a negative reaction due to the negative things that they may do from the Most High. And sometimes a coward will know when they've been hit with something that was negative. After all the negatives that they've done, they've been received the consequences for the negative things that they do. And then other times, there's other cowards who do not care. They rather just live like that. They rather not care. They rather just receive their consequence. And sometimes what they may do when they receive their consequences, think that they were doing positive things and think that they deserve sympathy because a negative situation happened to them. But in reality, those negative situations that happened to them was because of the negative things that they've done to other people in this life today. So understand who you're dealing with in this life, and understand the power dynamic that happens in this life and the social dynamics that happen in this life. Because what people don't talk about or tell you is there's a quote unquote invisible social hierarchy, and you do not want to get involved with those invisible social hierarchies in this life. Understand yourself, understand the role that you play in this life, and understand that you have the ability to be independent in this life today. So today, I'll be leaving you this scripture, and I hope that the scripture helps you in your own personal daily life today. Revelation 21:8. But as for the cowardly, the faithless, and detestable, as for the murderers, sexual immoral, sorcerers, adulterers, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. I want to thank you for watching today. Peace.